Die have a call Grail at Falkirk Sportsline on Scariff Bay Community Radio. Good afternoon, everyone. You're welcome once again to the Sportsline show here on Scariff Bay Community Radio in association with their Credit Union on 88.3 FM and 92.7 FM and also on the TuneIn app. And on today's show, as always, joined by co-presenter Pat McNamara. On today's show, it's going to be predominantly hurling, and what a weekend we have in store. With, especially in Kilkishen on this weekend, it's the centenary of Mountshannon Hamilton and their park, and of course the main event coming Sunday evening with the Clare Cup final between the hosts O'Callaghan's Mills and neighbours Clooney Quinn. And we're going to be joined in studio by men well known to all our listeners here on Scariff Bay Community Radio, a member of the media team here, well known with Pat O'Brien. But first of all, before we get to Pat, a weekend of sport. You know, we've had the county have been busy. This weekend, it's all club action. You know, we had the league final between Bodyke and Corofin last night in Clarecastle. Junior B final later on this evening in Kilkishen. Everything is in Kilkishen this weekend between Tulla and the Mills. And of course, concluding with the Cup final, Division 1 final tomorrow evening in Hamilton Park.
Yeah, a great weekend of hurling, and I suppose the culmination of the league is always I suppose a great sign that the early season is over and you've come to the final. Everybody wants to win the Clare Cup and to get to it. Sometimes the competition in the early days, with so many people missing, mightn't be taken as seriously as you'd like, and I think it should be taken more seriously by teams, because it's a great competition. Players want games, and they get games in the Clare Cup, but I suppose with county squads taking players away, and that it can be unsure of who you'll have and who you won't have. But look, it's great that the centenary of Canon Hamilton Park Kilkishen had been chosen for a while now for this final, and it's very fitting that the Mills, the local club, has got to the final. I think it was in the Stars, as you said earlier on, and Clooney Quinn. So that could be a very, very good game indeed. Looking forward to it. Both teams will be a bit under strength, I think, from what we're hearing anyway. As that's what you find in the cup. You don't have the same, every single player available as you have in the championship. But I mean, still they make it a very, very good game. And I say the atmosphere, the preparations down in Hamilton Park, I'd say will be second to none. They'll leave no stone unturned to have that lovely venue we all played with Leo many times back in the day, and a great atmosphere down there always, and many a good match in it over the years, and great to see that have this final, and we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I suppose, thanks, Pat, as I said, we're joined here in the studio, member of the O'Callaghan's Mills Committee, and as I said, well known to all here on Scariff Bay Community Radio, is Pat O'Brien. Pat, you're welcome once again.
Thanks, Leo.
Pat, what a weekend in Kilkishen. There's a pitch, as Pat alluded to there, we all love playing there. Most of our underage games coming up along, we're in Kilkishen, and what a weekend down there. The work that has gone on, the place is in absolute pristine condition, and as Pat said, it must be written in the stars. We looked for permission to hold the cup final here there tomorrow evening.
Yeah,
at an earlier meeting.
One of the committee actually, our secretary Patrick Hogan, said it would be great to get the Clare Cup final, and he said it was on that weekend. He had been checking the fixtures, and we applied for it anyway, and they had a couple of meetings at the county board level, and they eventually came back to us and said we could host it.
And Pat, how ironic, O'Callaghan's Mills, I suppose, even though it might have been written in the stars, it definitely wasn't in the bookies list that the O'Callaghan's Mills would be in the cup final, and it's some turnaround, and we'll be speaking to the manager Shawnee Mack in a while, but it's fitting that especially with the day that's in it, that the host team are in the final.
Yeah, I suppose we came up from we were in Division 1B last year, and we got promoted, and we were just I suppose all of us talking the way things were with the two Coonies were gone, and Jacob Ducknain and Colin Crean has gone to Dublin, and we were just hoping maybe we'd keep our place in Division 1A, and they won the first few games, and I suppose they got them going. And there's a new coach in there as well, Paul Keane from Adea. And Paul seems to be getting a great buzz out of them, and I suppose they kept winning matches, and they had a bit of confidence, and they went on, and it's great to be in the final, and especially it's great at home. And
I suppose I know we'll be talking, as I said, we'll be talking to Shawnee, and in Dr. Daly Park last Sunday, you talk about young guns winning the games, but last Sunday was probably one of the old guard in Brian Donlan. What he turned back the clock with a fantastic display.
And to be marvellous if they won on Sunday, because Brian, I'd say, has given maybe over 20 years at senior level to the club, and maybe he has no medal from the club. So to be marvellous, we could maybe himself and Patrick and Conor Cooney, and there's a few of the older guard that. To be nice if they got a medal.
Yeah, indeed. Pat, to talk about the occasion itself, and it's 100 years with Mountshannon Hamilton, and you might tell us the background to the whole lot.
I suppose how it started was like in all parishes. I suppose you had back in the time in the 20s and maybe before that, you had matches played in different fields, and maybe in farmers' fields, and when they'd cut a field here, there'd be matches put in there. But anyway, in Kilkishen, O'Halloran's there next door. O'Halloran's on it now, which and it was the Studdart estate, and the Studdarts were living up in Quinn, and they were deciding to sell some of their land. So there was a group of people, maybe 25 or 30 around Kilkishen, maybe was anxious to buy a bit of land. So they went to the Studdarts and they put their case that a group of them would buy it. But one condition was that the paddock was the name of the pitch, and that the paddock would be given over for sport, for hurling and sports facilities, like, you know. So that was done. The deed was done in 1923. Leo, there wasn't an awful lot of money around. You know.
And sorry, just to clarify, when you say a group of people of 24, 25 decided to buy the land if they could, was it fully with GA in mind, or was it to develop the village as well as hurling, or was it just for the hurling alone? What was the intention?
I suppose there was great interest in hurling, Pat, you know, and they wanted a sports field, really. And
but it was just buying enough land for the pitch and the dressing.
Yeah, well, no, they were buying land for themselves as well. But this paddock
had to be designated paddock.
I see. They were all
land for themselves as well.
They were all given a few bob in or a few pounds in for the pitch as well, as to be developed as a sports field. And as that happened anyway, and they fenced it off. And actually Kilkishen got to the final in 1923 as well. And it was played in the Fairgreen Knockannan's Mills. The Fairgreen Knockannan's Mills as well was another pitch, because what you had in every village at the time, you had nearly you had a pitch, and you had teams nearly in all the villages. So Feakle and Kilkishen met in the Fairgreen, the Mills, and just one morning, I think, compete after 20 minutes, and a row developed, and one of the Feakle lads was sent to the line, and Martina Hamilton actually was refereeing it. And the Feakle men refused to leave the field, and the match was called off, and there was a award to Kilkishen. So that's what happened in 23. And then I think the Mills in had a scene maybe, and Kilkishen met in a league final in 24 as well. And I think it was kind of the time of the Civil War and all that. And there was one crowd of them were Republicans, and the other ones were Treaty. I think a lot of Holland didn't it wasn't all about Holland anyone on the pitch.
And then to get back to Monsignor Hamilton, then how he got involved in the whole lot.
Well, I suppose if we go for long, Leo, in 32 you had the Mills, Kilkishen and Berwick were joined, and it went under the name Kilkishen, and they defeated the Market in the county final in 32 and just stayed in Kilkishen. And the Market had defeated them well in the league final of the cup, maybe a few weeks beforehand, and I suppose they decided they'd come up and play in Kilkishen, but they got well beaten anyway, 6-4, something to 1-3 or something like that.
It wasn't the first time the Market were beaten Kilkishen.
That's right. I would remember
Bruce beat them in a quarter final as well. Yeah.
I suppose when John belonged in the war was built in, I think, in the 30s as well. A group of fellas around, and all the war was walled in. So I suppose for long it was like that. There was, you probably remember the wire and all around it. The wire was taken away in the early 70s, maybe, or late 60s, early 70s.
As a small lad.
And the pitch was made bigger, and all that kind of stuff, you know. And Robert Faustin was involved. He was secretary, and there was a group from there, and they built the handball alley and in the original dressing rooms and clubhouse. And I suppose we'll have to go back to 62. There was a very famous final played in 62, the digging of the graves.
That's right. I was going to get to that, yeah.
The Market and the Bridge, and they were in the Clare Cup final, and we don't know whether it was the Bridge or whether it was the Market who didn't want to play there.
There's a lot of conspiracy theories on that one, Pat.
So there was a bit of digging done anyway, and to try and stop the game, but I think a few of the lads spotted it on the way to Mess, or back going home from Mess, and a gang of them got up and they filled up the graves, filled up the holes.
And when was the decided to call the pitch after Monsignor or Canon Hamilton, because obviously was he in the parish for a long time? I mean, I know he was involved in an office.
Well, he wasn't in the midst. Actually, he wasn't in the midst parish at all, but he was chairman of the county board.
An important person in the county board.
County board. He was chairman of the county board for years.
And Munster as well, sure.
Yeah, and
Clare man, wasn't he?
Clare man, yeah, and. Father Fitzpatrick was kind of involved in the pitch there. He was from West Clare and he was the curate, and he was involved in the committee as well, and he proposed at some meeting that be called after Canon Hamilton, and that's what happened there. It's in the 70s, early 70s maybe, when they started doing the development.
But Pat, even through the years, you know, and the pitch and the facilities there are second to none at the moment, but there has been unbelievable work done. You know, you spoke about that committee under Robert Frost anonymous at Everton that goes on in, not only in Clare or in the Mills, but in Clare as well. And you know, he got a committee together there in the 70s. I think Matt Donovan was chairman at the time, and there was a lot of work done, as you said. The handball alley and all that came in, and you know, it is ironic that the other committee are in there now.
And then I suppose in 2014 or 15, then there was different discussions about maybe putting in a gym, and maybe it was outdated.
During his time.
So it was decided to build a new clubhouse and put in a gym upstairs, and you had the meeting room downstairs, and you had a big hall downstairs, and you had a meeting room as well. And they developed a new balcony in the handball alley as well, and done work. Redeveloped a lot of the handball alley as well. And then the old dressing rooms were there, so then after that, then it was decided to demolish the old dressing rooms and move on and build new dressing rooms.
But
so that's how the project now was completed. Like,
yeah, and it is, you know, it's a brilliant job, and you know, an example to everyone, and a lot of great work being done in East Clare. However, to get along, then of course you're in the cup final, and you know, there's tremendous work being done. I see Killian Nugent is the goalkeeper. He's the man. He's the man taking care of the pitch. He cuts the grass there. And
actually, I was there yesterday doing a bit, and Killian came on and he pulled out the machine and he cut the grass, and he went off lining the field for the weekend. So Killian looks after the facilities there.
And you might give the rest of the committee members a shout there, Pat. I know Joe is club chairman at Joe Cooney, and you know, we must congratulate Joe also on becoming the mayor of Clare, and a tremendous honour for him for the next 12 months. And
I don't want to leave out anyone. I suppose there was a lot of money in race as well. With a membership draw, with a big membership draw there for the building of the clubhouse, and then we got money from the lottery and lottery funding and Munster Council, and Tomer give us some money as well, and what's it called, JP McManus. There was money got from JP McManus as well. So all those they're marvellous people to be able to come up with that kind of money and those funds, you know.
And Pat was done in a relatively short space of time as well, you know. So
it was, and you're Conor Cooney, and Conor he works for, you know, he does all the pricing and all that. So we were lucky to have those people as well. And you had Kevin Frost, who was a draftsman and all that. They done a huge amount of work as well in drawing up the plans and all that, you know.
So it was
and the pricing and the whole lot.
To be fair to them, it was a real club effort, and lads putting their shoulder to the wheel. And Pat, you might tell us about the weekend's activities. You know, it is going to be a helter-skelter of a weekend in Kilkishen.
On Saturday now at 12 o'clock, Ger Ryan, who was chairman of the Munster Council, he's going to come and he's going to unveil a plaque there in, we'll say, commemoration of the 100 years of the pitch, and opening the new clubhouse and facilities. And then there's underage games going on, and they have underage hurling and underage camogie, and in the evening time then you have the Junior B final between Tulla and the Mills in the Junior B League final at 5:30. And then on Sunday there's mass, there's deceased members in the church, and then in the afternoon I think there's more underage games earlier on, and there's a senior camogie game between Kilkishen Bedike and Cloney Quinn. And then you have the Clare Cup final in the evening at 6. And with the Tulla pipe band there for a parade, and everything will be everything will be thrown in.
Yeah, there's no hold back. And Pat, really, it is a weekend to be look forward to, you know, and we don't get too many of these weekends out in East Clare, you know.
Sorry, you're absolutely right, Leo, and it's fantastic that East Clare are getting a bit of, you know, attention and as I said, another excellent facility, you know, being developed to the highest level possible. But I suppose I was just noticing there off air before we started, we haven't, Scariff haven't been there for commentating on the game since we got going. As far as I can remember, there was no.
No, we haven't done. No, but it's one of the venue. Yeah.
Covering, so we'll be hoping it becomes a venue for more. The county board will look on Kilkishen as a venue for more senior interclub games when the championship does get going. If not this year, as the years go on, because it's a historical place and it's a place we all have as memories of visiting and playing. Not alone playing it, but supporting as well. And you mentioned that a quarter final in the senior championship between Brian Bruce and Newmarket and Ferguson in 1985, wasn't it? And 85. 75. My God, losing my memory.
Michael McGrath from Benley-Hinch will always remember Hamilton Park. He got a hat-trick off Johnny McMahon, who was the all-star cornerback at the time.
I remember the crowd down.
It was all know about
it. We're still hearing about it.
The crowd down that day, but that was one of the big days. I remember playing schools, even our primary schools championship games there against other teams. That time we go to neutral venues, and I remember playing a semi-final there and losing it one year to Kilmurray in a very controversial game. That's a bad memory, but what I'd like to think is that the county board would look in Kilkishen now as a place where you could have some Clare Championship games, early rounds of Clare Championship games, because it's a historic venue and it's a place you'd love to see used again. And we might get to go down there on a reasonably regular basis to do commentaries on the Championship games involving East Clare teams.
But I suppose, you know, there was great foresight in the people that went that time in 100 years ago to buy a pitch, because there wasn't an awful lot of money around.
Yeah,
and to go buying a pitch.
There was no lotto at that time to help.
And there was no other club, I'd say, in East Clare anyway owned a pitch even.
Yeah,
you know, because the market came in 36, I think, and Tulla came in 42. And they were kind of the three winners in East Clare until the club started developing their own pitches then later on, you know.
Pat, in 1923 the field was up. Can you tell us the Mills played who in was it Clooney they played in the opening with that? Am I wrong in saying that?
It was a big group of teams in it, Leo. The Mills was in it and Kilkishen and Clooney were in it, and Mealik and Pertine and the Bridge, and I don't know how many. There was 12 teams, I think, in it anyway.
So 100 years on, there's two of them there again.
And I don't know who won it at that time, or we don't know who won it, but there was, I think, about 12 teams in it. You know.
So ironic, 100 years on, Clooney are there again, and of course the host team are there again. Peter, you might just give a mention to the rest of the committee that have been involved in bringing the state of play to this conclusion and for what we have coming up this weekend.
Yeah, the organising committee, Jim Maroney would have been chairman, and Robert Frost is involved, and myself, Patsy Neville, John Linehan, Niamh Mack of the Camogie Club, and Catherine O'Gorman, who was treasurer of the Camogie Club, Caroline Hickey, Aisling McMahon, Nigel Davies, the treasurer of the club, and Shawnee Mack and Joe Cooney and Patrick Hogan, who was the chairman and the secretary. So
Starboard's
good Mills and Kilkishen people there.
Yeah. And Pat, it's 1995 since the Mills last won the Clare Cup, and Clooney have to go back a bit further, 1944. So even though Pat alluded to earlier, both teams maybe won't be at full strength due to county commitments and everything, but still, and holidays, and of course with the championship coming up very, very soon. However, there'll be no excuses on Sunday at 6 o'clock when both teams hit the field. They will want to. There's a Clare Cup on the line, and
when you're in a final, you want to win it anyway, no matter who you're playing or who you're, you know. So whatever grade is in, you'd like to win it. So I look at if it was to be great about as one of, especially for Patrick Donlan and maybe Brian Donlan, who is
as you say the
Trojan service, and you know, so. And if Clooney win it as well, there'll be no one begrudge them, because they have been out of the limelight for a long time as well.
And Pat, all are welcome to Kilkishen, not only Sunday evening, but for the weekends.
We'd like all the people around the parishes and the neighbouring parishes to come over as well. They'll be all looked after.
Yeah, all will be greatly welcome.
Tea available, Pat, will they be down there?
There will be tea and sandwiches. Yeah, I think so. I think there's a barbecue Saturday night.
We'll be baking all day Friday. Yeah.
So we look forward to a successful weekend in Kilkishen this weekend, and of course with the two great games with the Junior B and the senior final being the highlight. And we wish everyone well. Pedro, as always, thanks for your time on giving us the history of Hamilton Park and from the time of from the paddock until today, and hopefully O'Callaghan's maybe might bring it to a successful conclusion by capturing their first Clare Cup since 1995. And of course, as we spoke to Pat O'Brien there about the festivities and all for the weekend in Kilkishen, however, the most important part of the weekend's activities in Kilkishen this weekend, apart from the Junior B final, is the Clare Cup Division 1 final between O'Callaghan's Mills and Clooney Quinn, as we said. And we're delighted to be joined on the line by the O'Callaghan's Mills manager, Sean McNamara. Sean, who's well known to everyone in East Clare, a teacher down here in Scariff Community College, assumed the role of manager for O'Callaghan's Mills this year. And in fairness, has to be said, has done a marvellous job. You know, the O'Callaghan's Mills were probably one of the favourites for relegation at the outset. However, he has turned the team completely around, despite missing a lot of players, to be in a Clare Cup final. Sean, you're very, very welcome, and congratulations on your achievements so far.
Thanks, Leo. I wouldn't say I'm the manager now. I think there's 5 of us in it together now. There's no one really the manager, so I won't claim to be the manager anyway, but I'm involved in it.
Not until after tomorrow. Not until after the final tomorrow. Johnny, you might just tell us who else is involved with you.
Well, within the club, we have 2 great men of PJ O'Connell with his great experience with Clare and his All-Irelands, and Johnny Cooney, who's acting as selector and also sub-keeper. He's a great hurling brain as well. And then our 2 outsiders then, Declan Noonan from Killanena, super S&C man. He was with the club maybe 10 years ago and he was great that time. And sure, he'd have a great experience built up over 10 years, so he's absolutely brilliant with them. And the vital piece, I suppose, was Paul Keane, the coach from Adair, son of Dave Keane, who won the 321s with Limerick.
A marvellous manager in his time, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the 5 of us, and then there's a few men working behind the scenes that make sure we get whatever we want. So that'll be John Maroney, John Linehan, Robbie Madden and Brendan Noonan. They'll be checking in with us every few weeks to see, do we need anything? So we'll have to give a shout out to them as well.
Yeah, indeed, in fairness, it's a culmination, and the Mills club really going from strength to strength. And Johnny, I suppose maybe at the outset, maybe staying in Division 1 was probably a priority. However, in the final now, and it's there to be won.
That's it, 100%. The first night, our first game was called off with Fecal, and we won by a pint inside Newell 2 or 3 days later. And we said, Jesus, that win might keep us up. That was the way we were all thinking, with a few lads missing. And next thing, we have a lot of 1-point wins and a draw after being 6 points down. And we beat 6 Mile Bridge for the first time in a long time. So we've won a lot of tight matches. We were worried at one stage at the table. We were up near the top. But if we went to score difference in a 3-way tie, we were going to be lashed to the 3 between Newmarket and the Bridge and ourselves, or even if Crusheen got into it with all our close wins. But we found enough of points to top the group anyway. And just every win built a bit of confidence with new lads and young lads. And just, I think everybody just figured out, there's a few lads gone to Australia. Colin transferred to Kilmacud, and I suppose the saying at the moment is next man up, but it was a bit more than that. I think everybody figured out we all have to do a bit better with the lads that are gone, and we all just stepped up a bit.
And Sean, I suppose to be fair, you've nailed it there, and the lads are tremendous lasses. And look, we know the championship is only around the corner, and the Clare Cup is about giving games, and you've given games to an awful lot of players, and lads making their debuts and that, and future stars for the Mills, and keeping the club alive. But as you said, it's funny when you lose a few players, everyone just kind of puts their shoulder to the wheel and gives that extra effort, and you find out an awful lot more. You find out an awful lot more about players.
Exactly, and then you have some lads that, in their heads, they think, well, I have a chance now that there's 4 or 5 lads gone, and they're going to put in an effort. So it was great a few years ago when the lads won the Junior A, that they're playing intermediate championship since, an intermediate league. So it wasn't a big, huge step up from Junior A to Senior or into the Clare Cup. And then you had the 3 lads from the Herty. So they brought great experience, even though they mightn't have played too many senior matches. So it was all working well together. But I think the behind the scenes work the club did last year after the championship finished, the 4 lads that I mentioned, and I don't know how they found Paul Keane, but he's brilliant with the boys and everything. Every training session has a purpose, and we're just organised, and the boys are enjoying it, and everybody knows that they can get a chance. And I know the boys are gone, but we're still playing with 15 every day. It's not like we're going out with missing 3 lads and playing with 12. We still have 15 we start.
And Sean, I suppose that's, to be fair, that's the mantra that you've carried through the whole year, that, you know, everybody is on a level pair and anybody can play on any given day, you know, depending on the circumstances. And the one thing about it is everyone feels involved, and, you know, there's a very close community spirit in the whole lot, and the team is very, very close, and, you know, you only get over tight games through having a tight bond like that.
Exactly, and even with the lads that were gone for the full year, even in the cup games, you're always going to be missing someone, or lads are getting their holidays out of the way at the moment and we're down 1 or 2, but everybody rose in. Just even to mention Conor Cooney, that there was a lot of forwards that we were missing from last year, between Gary and Jacob and Colin Crehan. It seemed to be all forwards that were gone, and we tried him up in the forwards and it's working out well, and in that day we still need him in the backs if a few backs are missing. So he's one man that he'll do anything for the club. Like, he'll play wherever he's needed. The same with Heavy Donlan, who captain Clare, that one day he might be full back, another day he might be wing back. You know, everybody's kind of just filling in. They're all kind of just working. Shoulder to the wheel would be the phrase, I suppose, that wherever anyone is needed, they go there. Fionn Hickey'd be another man that would play anywhere for you. Full forward line some days, midfield other days. So everybody's just doing whatever's asked of them.
And Shawnee, it's great, you know, and in your own pitch, with the, just probably, as Pat McNamara said here earlier, it's probably written in the stars, the Clare Cup final in Kilkishen. It's lovely to have, you know, the Mills in it. And now that you're there, you'll want to win it. But Clooney Quinn will be a formidable challenge also.
We saw that last year in the championship, that they put it fairly well up to Bellier, who won it out eventually in the quarter final, and they came through their group. They came through a tough group in the championship, and that was before you added in Jack O'Neill and a few more from last year's minors. So we know that they'll be coming down to our pitch. They don't need any more motivation, saying we're playing this crowd below on their own pitch. Let's put it up to them. And just, it is a great game for both clubs, I suppose, running into the championship. And I know some clubs might look down on the Clare Cup, but we only play 2 competitions a year. In Clare, there can only be one winner of the championship. And we're in the Clare Cup final now. Both teams will give it 100%, I'd imagine.
And as you said, Shawnee, with the championship already around the corner, it's another match, you know, to bring players up to a certain level. And Sunday's game will be a step up from the ordinary Clare Cup games. There'll be there's a cup at stake, so there'll be a lot more bite in it.
Oh, a big bite in it, and especially when we're not in the same group in the championship. You know, I think some teams in the Clare Cup had one eye on waiting for the championship draw to be done to see will we show our hand in this Clare Cup. But I suppose we are under a bit of pressure now that Kilkishen and Clare and the Bridge will get a look at us, but I'm sure we'll be going all out to try and win it in our own pitch, and to cap off a great weekend within the club. We'll be going all out to win it, and if we show our hand, we show our hand. But sure, we'll drive on for the championship then after that again.
Every day is a new day. Shawnee, also before we'll let you go, and a tremendous honour for, you know, Scariff Community College this week, and for Clare and for East Clare, with the announcement of the minor hurling All-Stars. And, you know, you've been responsible in the school for sport for many, many years, and a tremendous job you have done in bringing Scariff sport back at a high level in Scariff Community College. And, you know, great to have 2 All-Stars, and also the Player of the Year with Ronan Keane getting full back, Owen Gunning getting his 2nd All-Star in a row, and also getting Player of the Year. And a tremendous honour for everybody, Sean.
Yeah, we're first proud of the 2 boys in Scariff Community College. And even the clubs, Bradford and Kilkishen, mightn't be known too much outside of Clare. They mightn't have too many Clare players before, but they're known about now between Owen and Ronan. And even on the Celtic Challenge team, I think we had 5, had we? We had Cormac Dial from Bodyke, and then we had Michael Heffernan and Mikey Bogenberger and Caelan Fahey from Highgate and Ben Sweeney from Scariff, and they were all on the Celtic Challenge. So it was 7 lads, all the one age group. It's great for the school. We're first proud of them. And even coming behind them, we had fellas going into third year now that would have won an under 15 Munster outside of them 7 lads. So it's all good. We're fierce proud of them. And I just remember years ago that there was a Clare minor team, probably around 2010, 2011, they were going well. And we had no one on it, I think. And I just kind of said it won't happen again. And Owen Quirk was the first man that kind of brought us back up there around 2010, 2011, after the first year that they won the Munster. And but sure, it's great now that we have 2 All-Stars out of it and 5 in the Celtic Challenge. And any other year that'd probably been in the county minors proper. But it was such an exceptional group within Clare. And to just, fierce proud for us. And I suppose myself and Andrew Ferry were wondering, should we have played Ron and Keane in the backs, and we might have won the schools all Ireland. But who knows what would have happened? Someone might have got injured. Owen Gunning might have got injured, and he might have missed a few Clare matches, or you never know what would have happened. So that worked out well with the county.
It is, yeah. And look, we're all very, very proud of the 2 lads, and congratulations to them and their families and their clubs. Shawnee, all we can do is thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us here on Scariff PA Community Radio. You've always been very good to us, and we wish you all the very best luck, and the Mills the very best luck in the final tomorrow evening in Hamilton Park, Kilkishen.
Thanks, Leo. Sounds well. Good luck.
And once again, thanks to Shawnee Beck for taking the time to talk to us. Pat, he's a tremendous job done, and the boys have a tremendous job done. And look at sure, they're all Mills to the core.
Yeah, it's marvellous what they have done, since they came in. And as I said earlier on, we were just hoping we'd stay in Division 1 when we started going to matches. And we were saying if we won 3 or 4 games and stay up, everyone will be happy. But they're in the final now, so you have to try and win it as it goes. And it's marvellous, and I'd like to compliment the selectors and the
club
for their work.
Pat, last Sunday, last weekend, the 2 All-Ireland quarter-finals, Clare defeated Dublin, Galway defeated Tipperary, we're in the All-Ireland semi-final. What's your quick synopsis of the games last weekend?
I suppose Clare, once Clare got on top of Dublin, it was all really one way after that, The second game, Galway, I suppose Galway should have won by 9 or 10 points, really. Conor Whelan had a few great chances in the first half. Now there was one in front of the goal, and he should definitely have scored that one. The other 2 might have come in from the corner. And I suppose Tipperary were disappointed. I'd say the Tipperary crowd were expecting an awful lot more, and they didn't look great now. They were disappointed enough.
Yes, for sure.
And too many older fellas, I think, as well. Maybe they should have, the likes of Canon and the McGraths and them, and waited and leave them for 20 minutes to go or something like that.
Pat, you learned anything last weekend that we didn't know already?
I suppose I know Tony Kelly's interview afterwards. He did say that they were trying to play a bit clever up, a bit more ruthless up on the forward line. You wouldn't have said that in the first 10 or 15 minutes. That we were more ruthless to an extent because of some of the shooting, but the wind was a factor for the points. But I think the fact that Tony Kelly himself scored 3 goals is very telling, because I've often thought that Tony Kelly is brilliant, one of our best players we've ever seen from Clare, and everybody loves watching him, and he's just an exceptional talent, and he'll shoot 6, 7, 8 points a game sometimes. But I was wondering, was there more goals in him? And I think it's a very positive thing to see that both Clare as a team were kind of setting things up to go for goals, and Tony himself win for them, I think is a good sign, because in the open space at Croke Park, Tony was shackled last year, and I'm just hoping now he's got a hunger for goals. He and Shane O'Donnell, Mark Rogers obviously are proven goal getters when they want to, and not when they want to, but they can do it, and I think that was one good thing. So I think our forward play, I have a funny feeling Lohan and the lads over them, and let's say the players themselves would have led it as well, would say that they would want to be setting this up to get goals, and also to be more ruthless in front of goal, whether there's goals or points, and maybe hopefully shoot from the scoring areas rather than from out over the sideline from 70 metres out. So I think that was one good thing. The forward play, full back line picked up a bit of trouble. Crummy caused a bit of trouble there off and on, but obviously Adam Hogan still held his own. It's a line that Kilkenny could exploit if we don't get our half back line hopefully all fit again.
And speaking of our half back line, concerns over John.
100%. Now, no one knows. I mean, nothing that's come from the camp. And I mean, first of all, his health is the most important thing. When you get I think there's a wallop into the side of the neck he got him mainly. Yeah. When you get a wallop like that with any issue but possible concussion, the most important thing is the player's health. We'll forget about the hurling nearly, but as I said, we all want Sean Conlon back. He's a stalwart. He got a savage ovation from the crowd going off to show everybody what he means to this team.
It was a great show of appreciation for an absolutely great hurler, Pat.
That's what's marvellous. He's given great service.
Yeah.
Great, marvellous service. And I suppose I'd like to see Clare back at full back as well. I think we haven't anyone there.
We need to be at full strength.
Well, especially against Kilkenny.
Yeah.
You know.
But look, we look forward with anticipation.
100%.
Pat, there's a small matter of a very important camogie game later on today in Cusack Park. Clare and Cork, winner take all, chance to progress out of the group. I know there has been problems in Cork with camogie and football and the fixtures and that.
all that shit.
I would imagine they'll probably all land on in Cusack Park later on for that camogie match.
Well, whether they do or whether they don't, they're still at 15, as Shawnee Mack said, they're still at 15 players anyway, that's a guarantee. Look, when you look at the players Cork have, I mean, look at, you start with Libby Coventry, Chloe Sigerson and Laura, the centre-back, Laura Tracy, and up along, fantastic, like Mackie, all those players, super, Amy O'Connor, gee, you could rattle off those names. I mean, super team. I mean, knocking on the door. They could have won 4 or 5 Irelands in the last few years.
They were
really
beaten by a pint last year.
Beaten by pints in a couple of times, I think. But having said that, I think the Clare display against Galway, we were both very impressed with it. I think Galway are a top side, league champions, and a top side with all their players nearly available to them. And I think the Clare display that day was very promising. I think it was very encouraging. They didn't die down. They fought. They seemed to be able to handle Galway, carry the ball well, and all that, and attacked well. Just maybe scoring power still leaves a little bit to be desired. But look, I think we're going in our home patch. I think we have a chance of really rattling Cork. And if we could be with them with 10 minutes to go, I often say about games, be there with 10 minutes to go and have a chance. You never know what might happen. And look at. I want to see a good performance for all their sakes, management and players.
And hopefully take it down the final stretch, and whatever happens.
Stay in the championship. If at all possible, wouldn't it be something?
Yes, for sure. We wish them all the very best of luck in Cusack Park later on today. And now we move on to talk about an upcoming event going to happen here in the next number of weeks. It's the Mountshannon Celtic summer camp for soccer, and we're delighted to be joined in studio by clubman Tom Bottcher, a man who's given unbelievable service both as a player and an administrator and a coach to Mountshannon Celtic, and also delighted and honoured to be joined by Alex and Isabelle, who both play soccer for Mountshannon. Alex plays with the under 11s and Isabelle plays with the under 12s. You're all very, very welcome.
Thanks a million, Leo.
Thank you.
I suppose due to seniority, Tom, we better start with you, and of course everyone knows you have been part of the radio station here. It's a great week, Tom, and a week that all youngsters look forward to from the time the holidays come. You have the hurling camps, and then you have the soccer camp in the first week of August, on the 7th of August.
You do, and I mean it's right in the height of the season for good weather, and I'd say the kids are off school, and the parents love to see them going out and being active as well. That's the other thing, and of course we're right smack in the middle of the Women's World Cup, where Ireland are going to be fairly highly represented over there. We were up to see the girls last Thursday between themselves and Zambia, and they got to meet Courtney, our number one goalkeeper, Courtney Brosnan, afterwards, and signed autographs and all the bits. So it was great. It was wonderful, because I think the pros of today probably wouldn't have the same sort of access or time to give to the underage. And the amount of kids that were there were fantastic. And I mean, the camps lead into that, because it just basically develops the interest in soccer. And the lads have been doing the sports camps now for the last 3 or 4 years, in every weather condition. And to have it in Scariff, they don't have to travel very far. They don't have to, there's the element of closeness, safeness, and they know the community, and they meet others that are going to school with them. They're playing for Mountshannon Celtic with them. So there's a great bunch doing the soccer camps. And
I presume, Tom, that Dennis Hines is still, the main guru, the regional officer.
He is the main guru.
As long as everyone, as we can remember. But he's done a tremendous job for, and of course also we cannot forget, but we have to congratulate Newmarket Celtic on winning the FAI Junior Cup. So soccer in Clare is in a very strong position at the moment.
Very strong position, and I mean the thing is, the Premier League in Clare, I suppose, is dominated by two or three, let's say, main sides, between Newmarket, like you said, Avenue, Lifford came up last season as well, and did not came up, but they certainly, and you got Bridge United, but it's fantastic to have a national, let's say, winners in the county, and it was the first time for Newmarket Celtic, and I think it boosts everyone's confidence in the sport to bring it on, both facilities wise and also players. And that's where the underage is so important, and that's where the sports camps and the soccer camps run by the FAI And Dennis Hines, as I said, he's a guru, and he's been with us a long time. And all credit to him, he does most of the stuff on his own, and but he gets great support from the clubs, But again, as I said, it's all about the kids, and having fun as well. That's also important. It's very much a fun week. And a couple of years ago, we had Storm Ellen right smack in the middle of it. And the lads were like, are we going, are we not, just no calls. And they headed out to Scariff, and there was a massive attendance, and there was trees down and whatever, but it went ahead.
As you speak about the kids, and that's the most important thing. It is about the fun and having a great week. Isabelle, you play with Mountshannon Celtic under 12. You might tell us who your favourite soccer team is first, who you support.
My favourite soccer team is Manchester United.
And your favourite player?
I do not know.
And don't say Tom Bottcher. But you went to see the Ireland girls playing against Zambia last week, right? And the World Cup is coming up in a few weeks' time, and Vera Pow and her squad, she had big calls to make during the week. Did you enjoy the game last week?
Yeah, I really did. I did enjoy watching them. They were very good.
And hopefully in a few years' time that maybe you will be going to a World Cup with Ireland. What position do you play for Mountshannon?
I play defence or sometimes centre midfield.
You're an all-rounder.
Yeah.
And who trains you at underage?
Martin McNamara and sometimes my dad.
Oh God, you have to listen to him on the field as well. I pity you.
Leo, I had to listen to you for many
we had to listen to you from behind, coming and giving out us. Alex, who you play with Mountshannon in the under 11s. What position do you play?
I play centre defence. Central.
But the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And who's your favourite soccer team? Of course, is who else?
Manchester United.
And your favourite player?
I don't really have one.
Don't have one at the moment. They'd want to improve, But tell me about the summer camps. What do at the FAI camp? What do you do? Is it all games, or do they do drills, or what would they do?
You do some drills and you learn some new games, and also you play a match at the end, and it's pretty much all fun.
And Isabelle, is it mixed games, or do they keep the girls and the boys separate, or is everybody joined in? Do they keep it everyone together?
It's mixed games normally, and most groups are boys and girls together. There'd never just be one group of just boys, just girls. So it's all mixed around, and they're all very fun groups. So yeah. Tom,
young lads, you can see how enthusiastic they are about it. Like, right, okay, underage in Mountshannon, it is important because. With soccer being very much on the up, to keep it going, you need an influx of young players coming through the whole time, don't you?
No, absolutely. And I mean, I suppose the most successful team that came through was probably the first division winning team, and that was younger players that came through the ranks, went into the B team. Liam Glass promoted him into the A team, and then got a culmination of the older players, the younger players. And we went on to a bit of success. But I mean, it's not just about success. It's about getting the children interested, getting them active. They have they just have this love of the game as much as they would of hurling or rugby or whatever. But the thing is, they have such a variety of sports. I mean, I didn't really start playing football till I was 18 or 19. And I mean, they're 10 and 11, and 12. But the thing is, it's a great young age to start. And as well as that, when you've got the parents that are kind of willing to bring them to matches, that's a big part of it as well. That you know what I mean. Families are very active nowadays. You've got hurling on a Monday, you've got this on a Tuesday, you've got whatever. It's a full schedule for the whole week, and they still make sure that they get to the games, which is very, very important. But I mean, I think as a club, having as many different sides as possible out there is the most important thing, because you're giving people an opportunity to play. And it's not really the level, it's more a case of play the game, enjoy the game, and then as you get older, then you can get more serious about it. But
and Tom, how many youngsters are involved in Mountshannon Celtic at the moment? How many does it
Well, we've got the under 8s and 9s, then we got the under 10s, 11, 12s, and then up to 13s, and then you've got the senior team. But underage, I'd say you could be talking about 80 or 90, let's say, within the actual club underage structure, which is great. What we're trying to do now is see if we can go to the under 15 level, But as a team progresses, you're stepping up 1 year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Tom, just where do you draw your players from? Obviously, Mountshannon Celtic is the club, and it's got its brand at this stage, and we're all familiar with Mountshannon Celtic, the name and success sometimes, and maybe not other years. But where do you draw the players from in terms of the number of parishes around East Clare?
Well, you know what? That's the great thing. It's the great universal club. Because you get players from everywhere. I mean, when myself and Leo were playing, you had lads that wouldn't have spoken to one another because they would have had the parish rivalries within the hurling. And they wouldn't even look at each other on a Saturday night if they were outside in Scariff, like, not to mention talk to each other. And all of a sudden you had Whitegate lads, Scariff lads, O'Gunallow lads, Feakle, Bodyke, they all came together under the one banner. And it's the same today, only at a younger age. So, and when they go to secondary school, they know each other.
But it breaks down an awful lot of barriers, Tom.
An awful lot of barriers.
You know, especially for the likes of your own children who will be, you know, soon going to the secondary school. That, you know, when we went in years ago, Pat, you just about knew the lads going to go.
Socially for the young people.
It's unbelievable,
like
yeah.
Isabelle and Alex. Socially for them to know, getting to know more and more people in their area that they will meet in secondary school is fantastic.
Pat,
Leo, you were a great goalkeeper in hurling. Outfield and soccer, was it?
No, I played in goals as well. When they were very badly stuck, I played in goal in the soccer. But no, I did. I tried a bit of outfield, midfielder mostly. Not the midfield general no by any stretch of the imagination. But I think back of the fun we had. You know, when the hurling season finished in September or whatever it finished, and for Bodyke a lot of the times it finished early, you'll be looking forward to the soccer. And Tom, the games at the back of Waterstone's pitch,
fantastic.
You know, are long living in memory. And some of the evenings in Nobbies in Buglers after, I tell you, stories that will live long in the history.
Yeah, and you know the great thing was, I mean, the original pitch was in Mountshannon where the Asher is today.
Yeah,
and I mean there was some stories, and you wouldn't have got to know the characters or the people, let's say, involved in the club. We had I think a kind of a centenary or a celebration there a couple of years back and we had a huge table quiz in Mountshannon. And before we organised it, we went through every single player that ever played for Mountshannon Celtic right through the years. And it was hundreds of players, both from underage right through. I mean, it was incredible. And you forgot about so many of them that would have played for a season. And then you had the B team. And the B team were very successful as well. So you had the underage right through to the different sides. And the amount of people you would never have met under normal walks of life that you got to know through the soccer, and with opposing teams. I mean, there's lads that you'll meet in the street of Venice, like in any other, that will come up to you and tap you on the back and go, "Jesus, are you still alive?" But you know, that's the way it is. You know,
I did long live, and I can still remember the days as you spoke about the pitch in the centre of Mountshannon, and the people, the crowds that were there on a Sunday at a league game, depending on who you were playing, and people that said, you know, that wouldn't even talk to you about soccer, but totally maybe, and then bit by degrees they were at the games, you know. So the bend was broken in East there at that stage. But Tom, we're most important. We've to talk about the young lads, and it is about the youngsters and about the summer camp. And I know the call. You want to get the call out there for as many young people from around the East Clare area to try and take part and enjoy this camp.
Absolutely, and I mean the camp is selling very, very well. And I mean, it's always, every year it's a great success, but we have a couple of weeks to go, so there's still a few places available. And again, it's a week of fun, it's a week of skills, it's a week of playing ball, but at the end of the week, they come away, you know, with a bit of a kit. They get a few little, let's say, bits and pieces, a few balls. But the main thing is that they continue their development as footballers. And as I said, having the umbrella, like the FAI, kind of guiding things along isn't a bad thing. And of course, we'll all be rooting for the girls over in Australia.
Oh, it's the main event. It's going to be a tremendous occasion, and
fantastic.
They're going to play in front of 80,000 people in their first game against Australia. Tom, before we get on to that, how can people sign up, or who can they contact to sign up for the camp?
Well, we're going on to the FAI website, and it's basically www.faifootballcamps.ie, and just go into the website and then select Mountshannon Celtic as your preferred venue. I mean, yeah, you'll have to scroll down because of, let's say, the letter M. But the thing about it is you'll come to Mountshannon and there is places available. An awful lot of the different locations have zero, as in no places. Mountshannon is selling very well, but there still is a few places left. And we only had our AGM the other night. That's why I know it is selling very well.
And how many is the camp? How many can attend the camp? Or is there
I would say you're probably looking at about 90, I would imagine, give or take, because you'd have your maximum amount of players for each coach that would be involved.
And the coaches, anyone that's coaching will be fully qualified coaches.
Fully qualified coaches, Garda vetted, all the bit. So the thing about it is they're coming from different clubs as well. So they're good players in their own right, and then you've got a head coach over them as well, who is a well-established man.
And
so
I suppose kids down on holidays from other parts of the country, if there's room as well.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
it doesn't. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean,
That time of the year.
I know of let's say people that would come to stay at the holiday park that would be doing, let's say, courses over in 2 Mile Gate, for example, over in the activity centre. So there's nothing to stop
Perfect for them if there's
for the week for the week that's in it, to come along and join in. But again, I think you're going to have an awful lot of momentum with the lead up into the World Cup.
Hugely, yeah.
And I think it will sell out very quickly, let's say once the media drive. And as I said, Vera Pauw has announced her squad, and
a few shocks,
but she's like what we saw on Thursday night, they're an extremely good side. And Zambia were no pushovers. I know they were, I think, number 70 something in the world, but they had a centre forward there that would do well on any men's side.
They'll be okay in 4 years' time.
Absolutely.
The gap will close, the Africans will close. Isabelle, I know you're looking forward to the camp. What can you tell other youngsters around or why they should turn up and take part in the camp? What can they look forward to?
You can look forward to having just a load of fun and learn a lot of skills. Also, being with your friends is a great another good thing about it, because you learn when you're having fun, and it's kind of the whole atmosphere. It's really good.
And Alex, yourself, and it's not about competitive, it's just about enjoying the week, isn't it?
It's all about like enjoying the week and learning new skills and just having fun playing soccer, and you might make a load of new friends, as well as some friends that you'd already know.
Yeah, indeed. Well summed up. Tom, it is going to be a tremendous week. There's no doubt about that. And from the time they get the holidays, this is what they're looking forward to, really.
Absolutely. And it goes for all the camps in East Clare. And it's great to have such a variety of all sports that are out there, 100%. And as long as kids are playing sport, more power to them. And that's the best thing. Because the thing about it is when they go into the future and they go into early adulthood, and then, as I said, even at my age and your age, Leo, we're still trying to do something, And as I said, very important, because fitness and any walk of life, has to be paramount.
Pat, it is important for the young lads, and to keep sport going, apart from hurling and all that, to have a variety.
But anyone with any cop on will tell you that children should be exposed to all sports that they want, as many as possible. They can make their choices later on in life when you have to get competitive at 16 or 18, whatever it is. Brilliant to see soccer club, 2 soccer clubs strong in East Clare, at least, maybe 3, I suppose, if you're out this area, Kilkishen, Tulla and this case Mountshannon. But the fact that they cover such a large area and cater for so many kids is brilliant, I think, and what a service it is to the people of East Clare in general, and maybe even 1 or 2 from South Galway. Maybe it might make it as well. There would be a tradition of that.
Jesus, across the board. I was going to say sneaking across the board.
I tell you one thing, Debbie. Well, don't worry. In another sport, that wouldn't have been a problem at all.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I think it's fantastic that the kids get the choice to play a variety of sports and choose what they like. Then,
Tom, Alex, and Isabelle, thanks for coming in and taking the time to talk to us here on Scariff Bay News Radio. And maybe you might come back to us in a few weeks' time and tell us how the camp went.
Listen, Leo and Pat, thanks very much indeed. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great. You're very welcome. Also, before we finish up here on Sportsline today, there's a small matter down in Broadford this weekend where the O'Brien tournament is taking place. In memory of the late Niall O'Brien and Jamie O'Brien, who were 2 great stalwarts for Broadford GA Club. And the tournament this weekend is the senior hurling game between Broadford and Monaleen, and a junior hurling game between Broadford and Clare. And Pat, it is important if all patrons can come out and try and support that this weekend in Broadford as well.
It is, of course, and indeed, knowing Broadford, there'll be a big turnout, especially from the Broadford area, and even around that should go down and support it as well, because it was sad the way the 2 fellas passed away, and to be great to support it, and it's marvellous to
honour their memory.
Being honoured, yeah.
Yeah, indeed. And that concludes our Sportsline show here today on Scariff Bay Community Radio, here in association with their credit union. My thanks, as always, to co-presenter Pat McNamara. Thanks to our guest, Pat O'Brien, Shawnee McNamara, Thomas Bottcher, Alex Bottcher and Isabelle Bottcher, as they spoke about the summer camps for the soccer as well. And also thanks to our production team for getting the show on the road here today. And we hope that you'll be able to join us later on from Cusick Park for that All-Ireland Senior Camogie game between Clare and Cork. And of course tomorrow the big game from Hamilton Park in Kilkishen at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, the Clare Cup final between O'Callaghan's Mills and Clooney Quinn. And all that remains is to meet your dial until we meet again. It's Bennock Day, August Lawn.